6. Mr. Lakshman has successfully completed the certificate courses on information system audit, concurrent audit of banks, and forensic audit and fraud prevention conducted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also the insurance surveyor and loss assessor and a fellow member of the Indian Institute of Insurance Surveyors and Loss Assessors. Mr. Lakshmanan is a senior partner of Messrs. M. Lakshmanan and Co., Chartered Accountants, having offices in Madurai and Trichy. Mr. Lakshmanan has served as a secretary, vice chairman, and chairman of the Madurai branch of Southern India Regional Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and he has presented papers on audit of banks and insurance companies, issues in e-filing, insurance surveys, etc. He is an active member of the Giants Welfare Foundation, and at present, he is the Deputy World Chairman in charge of 4 southern states. He is one of the executive committee members of the Madurai District Tiny and Small Scale Industries Association. He is an associate member of the Forum of Free Enterprise, Mumbai, and a life member of the Madurai Productivity Council and Victoria Edward Hall, Madurai. He is a visiting faculty for the Entrepreneur Development Program conducted by various organizations, and his favorite topics are costing, income tax, working capital management, and finance management. He has also given lectures on black money, my favorite subject, on various forums. He is a regular writer to the letters to the editor column, and his letters and articles on direct taxes and on topics of public interest appears in Tax Guru, The Hindu, Economic Times, Indian Express, and Tax Referencer, The Current Tax Reporter, etc. He is happily married and blessed with 2 sons. One has completed his chartered accountancy and specializes in cost accounts and is working in Chennai, and the other son is doing business with him. With these few words, gentlemen, I'm very happy to introduce to you Mr. M. Lakshmanan, BCom FCA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Farooq sir, for your wonderful introduction. Now the floor is yours, sir. C. Lakshman sir, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Proceed, sir, please.
Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear. Proceed.
In fact, this is the third budget presented by Nirmala Sitharaman. We have to be happy that is the first lady, woman finance minister, and she is a good economist. From the way the amendments are made and the suggestions are taken, we are able to understand that she has got deep knowledge in the economy, and the amendments show that they want to improve the economy to a great extent. But another point also I have to tell, there are certain practical difficulties in income tax and other direct taxes, which were not attended to in this budget for the reasons best known to them. In fact, I have submitted 2 memorandums to the madam. Each memorandum should be less than 500 words. And one of my suggestions is taken in this budget. But they keep good public relation in the sense that after the budget is released, I have received a personal mail from Nirmala Sitharaman with her photo stating that thank you for having participated in the preparation of budget. Let us all work together to improve the economy of our country. In fact, many suggestions were given by various institutes, but they have concentrated in increasing the revenue and in widening the area, and to certain extent to reduce the time in processing the return and going back or forward, etc. Like that, they want to reduce the time of compliance. In fact, we may not know how long a person will be caught by the income tax. They have reduced the time, and in certain instances, they have increased the time also. When I was asked to talk on budget, I told him that I will be talking only on direct taxes because to go through the amendments, all the amendments in the income tax will take long time. But when I talked to Mr. Ravi, he told me that please touch upon to some extent the GST also. You all know that GST Act and rules are very short, but the committee meetings, minutes and amendments, directions, notifications, etc. are big. Every time, every now and then they are issuing so many notifications. Though we do practice GST also, I have to admit that I'm not able to tell that I will be talking on GST also. But there are few amendments about which we will touch upon at the end. First, we will go to this is in fact when Ravi told me that if you can prepare a PPT, please send it to me. But due to paucity of time, I could not prepare my own PPT. I depend on the PPT. I have gone through so many PPTs, around 20, because immediately after the budget, every big Ernst & Young, Deloitte, etc., everybody will release comprehensive PPT about the budget. Among them, I found this PPT is good, released by Taxman. So we will go by the heads. Now, the first is income under the head salaries. Due to the pandemic, many of the employees were not able to avail the LTC, which will be there for them once in 3 years. They can go to a nearby place and they can claim the expenses.
Excuse me, you're going to do the screen share later, sir, or now, sir?
Pardon?
Screen sharing later, sir.
Screen sharing. Okay.
Please.
Okay, I thought.
Yes, thank you. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Here.
Screen share பண்ணிட்டீங்களா கீழ இருக்கும்ல
ஷேர் னு போட்டுட்டு
screen share ஒரு நிமிஷம் வந்துட்டேன்
yes
now open it
no
அந்த
yes
எங்க வச்சிருக்கீங்க ஐகான்
it has come
yes sir clear sir
yes so I will go backward.
Yes sir, come from first page sir. Okay, yes, wonderful.
These are all highlights which I have told earlier. That is they have brought in dispute resolution committee. Formally they have got an advance ruling, and now they are depending on more on faceless appeals. Like that, they have brought in so many amendments to reduce the time of compliance. Now we go to the income from salaries. In fact, as I told you, LTC, leave travel concession, is availed by employees. Many big companies are giving leave travel, companies, banks, insurance companies, public sector undertakings. Then they are giving, once in 3 years, they can go by a nearby place and claim expenditure according to their status, which they were not able to avail because of this pandemic. They were not able to travel, so they were compensated, and they can receive the money by purchasing goods for the equal amount between 12/10/2010 and 31/3/2021, and the purchased goods should have a GST rate of 12% or more. By this way, they want to collect more GST also. Then again, other thing is, this is taxing the very high people. That is, interest on provident fund is exempt, but they want to tax the people who are contributing more than rupees 2,50,000 in a previous year. This may affect very few, but it is a very good amendment, because already they are earning more. Why should the government should bear them? So they have given, they have taxing, the tax will be levied, the interest will not be exempt if the contribution is more than 2,50,000 per year. And one question came to me, whether the entire interest will be free or only this part of the interest which is applicable to 2,50,000, about which there is no clarity, which we have to see in future. Then comes the profits and gains from business or profession. Many of you may be aware, MAT, minimum alternate tax, is levied on companies which are showing loss in profit and loss account, but they may be having some profit in which MAT is levied. So this is an amendment for foreign company. So if they receive any dividend on which MAT will not be levied, it will have very less application for us. And this is a very crucial amendment. It is already there, but now it has been brought to notice of everybody. That is, employer collects PF from employees. It is to be paid before the due date. If it is not paid, it will not be allowed. But if it is paid at a later date, then a subsequent year or so, when it is paid, it was allowed. Now they have made it clear that it is to be paid on the due date. If it is not paid, it will be added with your income. This will affect those persons who are collecting and not paying. This is the amendment which I was talking about. This is one of the suggestions given by me. That is presumptive taxation. Many of you may be aware that the presumptive taxation is the tax which is levied on the turnover, that you need not maintain books, 8% of the turnover, and if it is a digital transaction, 6% of the turnover for business people. For professionals, that is 44 ADA, it is 50% of the turnover, provided their turnover is less than 50 lakhs. They need not maintain any books. They have to pay tax on the 50% of the turnover, for which the application to whom it is applicable was not clear in the section. Now they have made it clear and stated that it is not applicable to LLP, that is limited liability partnership. It is not applicable. Formerly, there was no clarity about it. Now it has been made clear. And this is a very important announcement about which you would have read in newspapers. That is, tax audit limit, 44AB limit, has been increased from 5 crores to 10 crores. But there is an hitch in that, provided the transactions, 95% of the transactions are in digital mode. So you are allowed to have only 5% of the transactions in cash. If it is like that, turnover limit is 10 crores. If it is less than 10 crores, you need not get your accounts audited. If it is above 10 crores, it is to be audited. Again, this is also, we have been talking about it for a long time, goodwill. Depreciation was allowed hitherto on goodwill also, because somebody purchases a company from others, over and above the net worth they pay something that is called goodwill, which they have paid, for which they were entitled to depreciation. Now the government has made it clear that no, There is no depreciation for goodwill. So they cannot claim. If they have claimed till last year, with that it is over. From this year onwards, from 21-22 assessment year, 22-23, sorry, it cannot be claimed. This is equalization levy. This word itself may not be understood by many of us because it is levied on companies like Amazon, etc. for e-commerce services. This cannot be levied if they are taxed for their royalty, etc. There was some problem in claiming royalty, etc. So they have excluded because they are taxed in another head for which equalization levy cannot be levied. This is also that related to that. Royalty fees, technical services, because they are already taxed, for which equalization levy cannot be levied. Then comes the capital gains. This is a slump sale. Many of you may not be aware what is slump sale. If a business is sold to another person, lock, stock and barrel, that is, they sell the land, buildings, plant and machinery, everything, stocks, etc., for which calculation of capital gains tax on each item is not required, for which slump sale, entire assets minus liabilities is taken as the cost and capital gains tax is levied. Now it was for only sale. Now they have made it clear that any transfer or any merger, etc., amalgamation like that, if it is a slump sale, it is applicable for all other transfers also, not only sale. And this is very important amendment, another amendment, that is transfer of capital asset to a partner or a member and dissolution of firm, AOP, body of individual. If you read it, it will be funny because, for example, a partner leaves the business. His capital account, current account, and his advance to the firm, for example, is 20 lakhs. For leaving the firm, the firm gives him 25 lakhs as cash, as stocks, or any such thing. Total value of the thing which he is getting is 25 lakhs. And this 5 lakhs, what it was done is, earlier, these 5 lakhs they have paid. So they debit goodwill and credit the partner's account in their profit sharing ratio who are continuing. If there are two partners, it will be credited into their profit sharing ratio as 2,50,000, 2,50,000 if the amount paid is 5 lakhs, more and above because it will be a profit. But there is no section in the income tax to tax that till now. Certain people taxed and the assessees went on appeal and it was decided that there is no transfer because he has got the money, he has gone away. This is only a book entry, so no tax can be levied. Now this is to be taxed in the hands of the firm. If you pay more, you have to pay tax. Another is taxation of unit-linked insurance policy. As of now, it is already there. If there is an insurance policy and if the premium is more than 10%, it is taxable. With regard to ULIP, now they have made a small correction also. If the amount of premium payable during the term policy exceeds 2,50,000 also, it is taxable. It is not exempt under section 1010D. So ULIP, if the premium is more than 10% or the premium payable exceeds 2,50,000, it is a taxable policy. This is another section. But this is not working here. During this pandemic period, many of the builders were not able to sell the houses because it is said that guideline rates in northern India is more than the actual selling value. They were not able to sell. Here in Tamil Nadu, it is always more than the guideline rate. This section is not more of use in our area because I don't see any real estate transactions more than the less than the guideline rate. Here they might have built the house, for example, the selling price is 45 lakhs, and if they are able to sell less than that value, already they can sell up to 10%. Now it has been increased to 20%. Even if they sell less than 20, it will be taken. You will not be taxed on the market value. If you sell the house for less than 20%, for which it is sufficient, you pay capital gains tax. This is to help the builders who have built so many flats, etc., which are not being sold because of this COVID pandemic. To help the builders, this section has been brought in. And it is said that it is very helpful for those who are not able to sell their flats, houses in North India, but it is not much of use in our area. Even during pandemic period also, the market rate is more than the guideline rate in many of the areas. You might read that the boost to the demand of the real estate sector, this section has been brought. But there is one condition, it should not be more than 2 crores. Here another is 54 GB, extension of time limit for transfer of residential house. For if it is sold and if it is invested in a new startup, they need not pay capital gains tax, for which the period is now extended to 31/3/2022. If a person sells his house and invest entire process in a new startup, he need not pay any tax, capital gains tax, for which the period is extended up to 31/3/2022 to stimulate growth. Now we are moving to the next, return of income. This is what I told earlier. They are reducing the time spent on processing returns, reopening, etc. The time limit for filing belated return, revised return is proposed to be reduced to 3 months. And revised return can be filed on or before 31st December. Till now it can be filed up to 31st March. Now 3 months reduced. This is another thing is, if you are more than 75 years old, you need not file the return of income, provided you have got income from pension and bank interest. This is an eye-catching amendment, but we feel that it may not be of much use for the senior citizens. The reason is, you have to have the bank account only in the bank in which you receive the pension. You should not have any other bank account, which is difficult for the pensioners. And again, you should not have any other income. How can it be? He may be having a house. He may be having a interest income from others also. Then he need not file a return. How to collect tax from him? So they give the burden to the bank officials. The bank officials have to work as an assessing officer. They have to calculate the tax. They have to get the declaration before 31st March and deduct the tax payable. If he has filed the return, how much tax he would have paid is to be deducted by the bank. Already banks are finding it very difficult to deduct tax. pay the tax in time and file the quarterly returns because they are already overburdened. And I don't think that they will be able to do it correctly. In many banks, I have seen they are not able to follow the rules, file the returns in correct time. They file belatedly, they pay tax and TDS belatedly, etc. In fact, in one bank, I have seen because if you file belatedly, the penalty will run on per day measure, per day 200, etc. So the bank has given a circular. If it has not been filed in time, the penalty is to be paid by the employer. So to that extent, they are not able to work because of work pressure. And to calculate the tax and to find out the deductions, what are all the deductions which is eligible, because there may be ATD, mediclaim, dependent medical expenditure, and another thing is if it is any policy, public provident fund, like that, all the deductions they have to consider. As I said, the banker has to work like a income tax officer and calculate the tax and deduct the tax and issue a certificate. If he has issued the certificate, the senior citizen need not file a return of income. So it won't be of much use, in my opinion. Then processing returns. This has also been, time has been reduced. You need not take much time because now computer takes care of it. Now it has been reduced from 1 year to 9 months. Like that, scrutiny assessment also reduced from 6 months to 3 months from the end of the financial year, in which, so we can expect the orders early. You can expect the processing being done early also. Then, while filing the returns in audit report, we comment upon certain things which are not to be allowed because by belated payment or not following the rules by cash payment in excess of 10,000 rupees. If these are reported in the audit report, the CPC has got powers to disallow such expenditures, make adjustments, which they are already doing. Now they have been given power separately. Again, till now, notice is to be issued by the assessing officer only. Now CPC has been given the power to issue notice. This is procedural amendment, which the CPC will issue notice. You cannot question that you are not the assessing officer. Again, reopening assessments. Assessment is completed. If the assessing officer has got any fresh information from any other file or from outside source, he can reopen the assessment, for which the time given is only now 3 years. Within 3 years, he can open. If 3 years over, he cannot reopen the assessment, even though he has got fresh information about the assessee. But it can be opened up to 10 years. If the tax sought to be evaded is income escaping assessment is 50 lakhs. He can reopen the assessment up to 10 years. Formerly it was only 7 years. Now it is 10 years. Here this time is extended. There the time is reduced. Then completion of assessment. How long they can complete the assessment? That is assessment of section 143, scrutiny assessment, or best judgment assessment of section 144 to be further reduced by 3 months. So they have to complete it 9 months, not 1 year. It is to be completed. They cannot keep it pending. You might have heard about faceless. We were in the olden days, we used to say that face value. If so-and-so appears, he will be winning the case because he has got face value. Now you should not have any face. Any assessment proceedings are now faceless. You need not visit the income tax office. And now you do not know who is doing the assessment, because you will get a notice. They will ask for particulars. You have to file everything in the computer through e-mode, and for which a question arises, sir, you may be having an assessment done by an officer in Jharkhand. He may not understand Tamil because we have got the documents in Tamil, for which they have initiated a department to translate. Like that, it is coming in a big way for the reasons which are known to us, known to all of us, to reduce corruption. You should not visit the office. If you visit the office, you may be tempted to be corrupted. So, faceless assessments they started. Next step is faceless appeals. Appeal also you need not present. You send the papers. Basing on the papers, assessments will be completed. Now it has been extended to ITAT also, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. There also you need not visit. You send the papers, it will be decided according to the, not face value, according to the paper value. How you present the papers, how your argument is there in the papers, you need not argue with your voice, you have to argue with your papers. It will be decided. Again, if you have got any problem, so it has not been done correctly, there were this faceless issue has resulted in a heavy loss to me. I have been instructed to pay so much tax, for which they have come out with a mechanism, that is Dispute Resolution Committee, DRC. So they can approach, if the disputed income is up to 10 lakhs, eligible for approach the committee. After they can decide whether it is correct or not. There was a settlement commission. For such disputes, there was a settlement commission which you can approach. Now it has been dismantled, discontinued. Here also, there was advance ruling. There was separate. Now they have reconstituted as board for advance ruling. If you have got any doubt whether this is allowed or not, whether they can claim it or not, whether as per the section what we are going to present is correct or not, you can approach the board of advance ruling and get a direction whether this is correct or not. Basing on it, you can file the return. This will also reduce a lot of disputes. TDS, TCS. Majority of the tax is collected by the government in these two TDS, tax deducted at source and tax collection at source. Formally, when an income is earned by a person, tax is deducted. Now, for even transactions, tax is deducted. TDS on purchase of goods. If any goods value exceeding 50 lakhs, provided your turnover is 10 crores, you have to collect tax at 0.1%. And if there is no PAN, you have to collect 5%. This is, many people are doing business, but they are not coming into the tax net at all. To bring them into tax net, this has been brought in. And another amendment is, non-filer shall be subject to TDS at higher rates. If he has not filed the returns for the past 2 years or so, the rates will be doubled. Or 5%, whichever is higher. There are certain contracts, etc., 1%, 2%. If it is doubled, it will be only 2% or 4%. For them, it is 5%. If it is 10%, it is 20%. Like that, the tax is to be deducted at double the other sections mentioned, 192, 192A are not, we are not concerned about, which are all not much use. This is portfolio investors, which are all not much used to us. TDS at a concession rate for them if they invest money in portfolios. and that will be taken care by the double taxation avoidance agreement. Here, dividend distributed on SPV, special purpose vehicle. This is a business trust can freely pass the dividend received from a special purpose vehicle to its, if it is proposed provident, no tax shall be deducted. This is for them to, because they have got some problem, it has been taken care. Charitable trust. From the very beginning, the Modi government is taxing charitable and religious trusts to a very great extent. Formerly, we used to get this exemption under section 12A in Madurai itself. 2 years back, it has been taken to Chennai. Now it has been taken to Delhi, centralized, for which every trust has to apply afresh. The time was over. Now, because of this COVID, it has been extended further. Forms have not been prescribed. Every trust has to apply afresh, stating the objects, which exemption they have got, from which authority, and what are all the accounts which they have got, how. And all trust will be governed by the official from Delhi only. And trust, public charitable trust is exempt from income tax. They need not pay tax. President, if I am overshoot my time, you can remind me in the middle.
So you can take last 10 minutes, sir. 10 minutes you can complete it. Then members make a lot of questions, so you can give some time for us. Okay.
Yes. We are nearing that.
Okay, fine.
That is charitable and religious trust. They can get exemption under section 12A. Their income is exempt. And another exemption is section 80G. For the donations, the donor can claim 50% of the donation given as exemption, for which the trust has to apply with the trustee, with the objects, and it will be given. Already many trusts are functioning with 12A and 80G. Now, as I said, we have to go to Delhi and renew our registration. This is one part. And why our Modi government is very serious about this trust is a very big question. Because many trusts of other religions are functioning in our country, which are said to fund this illegal activities. So they want to control it at a centralized level. This is the main reason. Because of that, genuine trusts which are functioning in all over India are suffering to a very great extent. And every now and then they are bringing in some restrictions. And as a trust, it is already there. If you collect 100 rupees, you have to spend 85 rupees. 85% of the donations have to be spent in the year of collection. Otherwise, it will be taxed. If it is not to be taxed, we have to allocate that fund to a separate fund for a purpose which is to be spent within another 5 years, which is to be kept separately, for which Form 10, 10B, audit report, etc. are to be filed before filing the return. Another thing is, if the trust do not file the return within the period, it will lose its exemption also. Here comes the catch. If they are not able to spend 85%, it will be taxed. And if, for example, this year they have spent more, their collection is 100 rupees, they have spent 125 rupees by borrowing money, etc. So they have got 25 plus 15 extra spent. Next year, the donation, if they are not able to spend that, this carry forward loss, whether it can be adjusted in the current year is a question. for which there is no clarity in the act. Many of us has approached the court, and every court has, yes, it is only a time. They are not able to collect funds last year, they are able to collect funds this year, it can be spent, carry forward loss is allowed. Now it is restricted. Set off of deficit not to be allowed to charitable institutions. If you have spent more on 1 year, you lose it. If you are not able to spend this year, you have to pay tax. And another thing is, if this is for regular donations, for corpus donations, it is to be spent, it should not be spent as a revenue expenditure. You can utilize it as for building or for purchase of assets, or you can keep it as a deposit and out of the interest you can spend. That is corpus donation, which you can collect. For example, a trust is constructing a building. The current year, the corpus donations are not much. Their estimate is around 2 crores. They are able to collect only 1.5 crores. Balance 50 lakhs, they have borrowed money and built the building. Next year, they collect the corpus donations and pay the loans. The act says, no. We have to collect corpus donation and spend. And the amount applied out of loans not to be considered as application of income. That is also being stopped. For what for, we do not know. These are all very difficult for genuine trust to function. Because many representations have gone, whether they will consider it, we have to wait. And corpus donations, there is a more to invest, that is under section 11(5). It is to be kept in a deposit of a scheduled bank, because they keep it in cash. It may be with advance or loans, etc. It should not be. As on the date of balance sheet, it should be in the deposit only. Otherwise, it will be taxed. For medical college, etc. And annual receipt. If they receive more than 1 crore, they are not exempted. Now, this limit is increased to 5 crores so that it will be easy for them to function. It is a welcome amendment for those trusts which are running schools and colleges. This is housing projects. In order to, because 2 years back there was a lull in many buildings, even before this pandemic period. People are not able to sell the houses built. There was a dip in the market. To boost the real estate market, it has been brought. So housing projects, and there are certain conditions that for metropolitan cities and for other cities, what is the total area, what is the carpet area, like that, there are certain conditions. If it is within that, they need not pay tax at all. Deduction of amount of 100% of the profits. Like that it was given. Now it has been extended to 31/3/2022. And this is again startup. And if they are able to function before 31/3/2021, it is exempt. Now the date is extended to 31/3/2022. And this is extra deduction on interest on housing loan, which is 1,50,000, which was given again to boost the housing sector for individuals. Now the date is extended for loans, housing loans received up to 31/3/2022 also. This is a practical difficulty because they may not know when the dividend will come. And if the dividend comes in the month of March, they would not have paid the advance tax earlier, for which they were paying interest under 34C. Now it has been amended that they did not pay interest in 224C for the dividends received belatedly. This is if there is fake invoices. Now the process is long drawn. Now it is given, assessing authorities have been given powers to attach the property, fake invoice. This is another amendment to ease the process. This is Vivid Sa Vishwas Act 2020. This is for appeals. For pending appeals, they need not pay the interest. They pay the tax and go for Samadhan, which they have been extending, and their targets have not been achieved. So they are going on extending, and they have given clarification. And zero coupon bond for infrastructure debt fund. This is for development of infrastructure. Definition of term liable to tax, so that they can tax everybody. If he is liable to tax, he can be taxed. Yes. With this, I complete my presentation on direct taxes. With regard to GST, main amendment is audit. Formerly, that annual audit is to be conducted by a chartered accountant. You have to issue a certificate for the reconciliation, etc. Now it has been dispensed with. It is to be filed, but it need not be certified by a chartered accountant. It's a great relief for them. And auditors are finding it, in fact, we are also relieved, because we are finding it very difficult to file that audit report, because there are so many hitches in that. ITC claim, bills not submitted, Form 1 delay file, Form B, like that. There are so many problems, interest, etc. So it has been, this burden is given to the assessee themselves, so they can file. Other amendments are not very much interesting, or to be very clear, I am not well versed in that GST, though we do. Though our amendments are not very serious, because they are every now and then they come with the clarification, etc. With this, I complete my presentation and thank the Rotary Club for the opportunity given to me. I see so many faces. Raja Govindasamy is there. Our worship brother Parthasarathi is there. Like that, I have seen so many of my colleagues, friends here in this August gathering, and I am told that you are one of the very prestigious clubs in Madurai, and I feel it very proud to address this elite audience in this hour. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, sir. Now the floor is open for question and answer.
Mr. President, can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. சார் நீங்க அந்த ஒரு நிமிஷம் ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்ணா இது பண்ணிடுறீங்களா சார்? நீங்க உங்களை பார்க்கலாம் எல்லாருமே.
அந்த பச்சையை கிளிக் பண்ணணுமா?
ஆமா சார், ஆன் பண்ணீங்க. ரெட்
லீவ் ஸ்கிரீன் இருக்கு.
லீவ் ஸ்கிரீன் இருக்கு பாருங்க.
லீவ் ஸ்கிரீன் போடுங்க.
ஸ்கிரீன்.
சரி பரவாயில்ல, எப்படி வேணாலும் சொல்லுங்க. ப்ரொசீட் பண்ணுங்க. நந்தா
சார்.
எஸ் சார்.
நான் எதிர்பார்த்ததை விட நீங்க ரொம்ப நல்லா பேசுனீங்க. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். In what way can I reduce or save in capital gains tax?
Capital gains tax is for if you sell a capital asset after a period, after 2 years, this indexation is allowed, and you have to pay tax on it. If you want to avoid it, you can invest the gains in the securities prescribed by the income tax authorities, National Highways Authorities bond, rural electrification bond, like that, bonds will be open in which you can invest, and you can receive the money after 6 years. I think it was 3 years. Now it is 6 years. You have to receive the money after. If you invest it, you need not pay tax on it. Otherwise, for certain investments, if you sell a house, if you don't have another house like that, you have to purchase a house, same capital asset, you need not pay tax.
Can I invest in a new venture, sir?
No,
Like
only that prescribed modes you have to invest.
So what is the limit, sir?
50 lakhs. Up to 50 lakhs you can invest in a year.
In each of the government bonds?
No,
In each?
per year 50 lakhs is the limit.
Okay.
If your profit is more than 50 lakhs, you have to pay tax. And the bonds are prescribed by government. Rural electrification bond, National Highways Authorities bond, like that, in which if any bond is appearing in that list, you can pay.
Thank you, sir.
May I, Mr. President? May I, Mr. President?
Yes, uncle, proceed.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes, uncle.
May I ask the question?
Uncle,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
நீங்க
Please
கேளுங்க
come.
uncle, கேளுங்க. Yes, uncle, கேளுங்க நீங்க. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned about the filing of returns by people who are above 75.
Yes.
Supposing I have only the income from pension and bank interest, and still I want to file my income tax return, is it okay?
Yes, you can file. It is an option only.
There's no problem.
Option only.
It's only an
But
option.
how it is going to work, we are very much doubtful, because we cannot expect the bank officials to work as assessing officers. Because they say
No,
that they
I don't
calculate the tax and you deduct the entire tax and issue a certificate, it is as good as an assessment order. But whether it is possible, we are doubtful. But it is an option only. If you are filing, it is welcome. It is welcome.
இளங்கோ சார், இது நீங்க கேள்வி கேக்குறீங்களா? எஸ் இளங்கோ சார்.
இல்ல சார்.
ரைட், ஃபைன், ஓகே. ஆடியோ, ஓகே, ரைட்.
Whether Ravi is here or is gone?
ரவி வந்திருந்த மீட்டில் இருந்தாரு. இப்போ
Now
ஜஸ்ட்
the participants is 26.
ஆமா சார், கரெக்ட் சார். Anyone want to ask any more question?
Sir,
Speaker, sir, you were talking about startups.
Yes.
There's tax exemption for startups.
Hmm.
So if I construct apartments and I consider, can it be considered as a startup, sir?
No, I'm not clear about it. Startup, how they consider as of now, whether construction of that is a multi-story building or
Yes, apartments.
will be considered as startup, I do not know, sir. Actually, I have
Okay.
Nandalal goes for skyscrapers building.
some 40-50 floors.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good
Whether
idea.
it will be
That's a
considered
real.
for a startup, I do not know, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Nandalal, what
Yes,
is the
sir.
plan like?
Yeah. You'll know very soon.
Okay, no problem.
Nandalal, don't disclose intentions. It is starting high up in terms of number of floors. That's all.
Yeah.
And now you have 10 floors here, this side of river, you know.
Anybody want to ask any questions, or shall we go to end of the program? Yes.
Since there are a few questions, I'm happy that members have followed it. If there are no questions, there are two results. Nobody has understand anything and everybody has understood everything.
So எனக்கு சந்தேகம் சார், ஓவராலா அந்த பட்ஜெட்டோட இது எப்படி சார் சொல்றாங்க அந்த பட்ஜெட்டை பத்தி மக்கள்கிட்ட ரிப்போர்ட்ஸ் உங்க சர்க்கிள்ல
இதுனால
ஆடிட்டர் சர்க்கிள் எப்படி சார் ஃபீல் பண்றீங்க அந்த பட்ஜெட்டை பத்தி?
Yes, good question. As I said in the beginning, Nirmala Sitharaman is a good economist, but I am sorry to say that her experience in taxation, practical difficulties faced by even an indirect tax or direct tax or central excise, customs, etc. She is guided by high officials. In fact, those who climb up the ladder in the CBTT or in the finance department are very clean officials. But they are very strict. They seldom understand the sufferings of the common people, common businessmen. In fact, one of my clients was telling me, sir, நீங்க சொல்ற complaints எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தா நான் business பண்ண முடியாது sir. So many complaints. TDS return, TCS return, advance tax, GST return, payment of GST, like that, so many compliances. These are to be reduced. We have been talking about simplification of tax laws, but we are complicating it more and more. In which aspect this government is not concentrating. In fact, I can say that the GST is the most complicated act in the world. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Okay. Now we are coming to the end of the program. Now I invite Dr. Shankar sir to propose vote of thanks. Shankar sir.
Unmute பண்ணிக்கங்க.
Unmute பண்ணுங்க. Yes sir.
Am I audible?
Yes sir. Yeah. Clear sir.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you very much, Chartered Accountant Mr. Lakshmanan. I think we know each other for a long time. We have met a number of occasions.
Yes.
So nice to see you here back at a long time. The income tax, the budget is very complex in India, especially in a country where we have 130 million people, where the tax complaints is hardly 4%. So all these exercises have been addressed towards the 4% mass of the country. And we did a lot of debates, a lot of discussions on the subject. Imagine the countries where we have 80% tax complaints, 75% tax complaints. I don't know whether this kind of debates comes up and rises up. I do not know. I think Mr. Lakshman may be able to enlighten on this point. India is a complex country. India has got a multi-faceted, multivarious country where we have more of a salaried class. So out of 4% we are talking about, at least about 2 to 2.5% goes as a salaried class. So we are addressing only 1 to 1.5% of the business class which have been taxed. See, as Mr. Lakshman was complaining, been sharing with us, more and more complications have been pressed into the system. Maybe because we have too many people thinking in a different direction. So every loophole, every problems they face, they have to plug it up. That is how the complications start. Government thinks right, this is a taxation we want to put. They expect every individual or citizen of the country to be straightforward in their approach. But there are other people who try to circumvent the laws and rules, makes to bypass, circumvent. They get caught. Once they get caught, the government puts another amendment to avoid this. That's why the whole system is sort of a cyclic. One leads to the other system there. Anyhow, thank you, Mr. Lakshmanan, for being with us today. We had a wonderful speech and a lot of areas you have covered in a short time. I think I hope the members have been benefited out of your presentation. And we look forward to meet you again, sir. And very nice of you. Thank you very much. Thank all the friends who have been present. Thank all the friends of our auditor who also have been present in this forum and meeting. Thank you, one and all.